This is a guide for the very new Pugmanding that's going to be functioning as a main tag during the time when they are tagged up. Just a little disclaimer before we start: if you are easily frustrated, stressed, or baited into arguments, you're better off not watching this, as it's not going to help you at all. Your main goal as a Pugmander is to make the map fun for everyone on it. That includes you and also the people following you, but not just them, the scouts and the roamers as well. As a general rule, as the main tag, you don't want to be responsible for more than 2 maps at once. In the case of this guide, we'll say you are building a pug blob on EBG and guarding home BL. If you lose either of these things, you're going to have a loss of morale and both scouts and followers. So step 1 of becoming a Pugmander is building your morale, follower, and scouts. This is how you get people to follow and scout for you. Put your tag up. I know, that seems obvious. But now for the hard part. Keep your tag up. No matter what happens. I don't care if only 2 people follow you around all day. You have to keep trying. And don't be afraid at first you are going to get called out for being bad. You might not even be bad. Doesn't matter. Someone will call you out for being bad. Ignore them. Keep trying. Okay, so now you have a couple of people following you and a few people complaining about you in map chat. Go ahead, take a camp. Start small, see what you're working with. As a pug tag, although you're leading, the pugs are for the most part going to dictate what you can do and cannot do. Don't try to resist this, embrace it. The pugs will thank you for it, and some may even join your guild, and you can show them what you'd actually like them to be doing after that. The more you win, the more pugs will follow you. The majority of these people are only going to be following you for a couple of hours, maybe once a week, or maybe more. So keep that in mind for skill levels when deciding what to attack. Okay, for the purpose of this guide, let's say that you didn't manage to take the camp. There were 5 people guarding it or something. It doesn't matter. This is the hard part. You have to keep your tag up. Go it again. Try a different camp. Don't run the pugs back into that same group they just died to more than twice in a row in any circumstance. Great, we got the camp. Next step, take a tower. This will gain you more pugs, if successful. Start small. A paper tower on the outskirts is best. Let's pretend we are red, walk through ogres, and hit paper durios to start. If you don't already know siege placement, you're going to want someone to teach you this. Okay, so let's say some scouts showed up to the Durios tower. You've got a few pugs on Discord with you at this point, but you're going to have to remember to continue to type in say chat if you want the ones outside of voice comms to stay with you. Most of them will likely be Lord blindness and stay on the Lord, so you are not going to want to go too far away from the Lord for the first little bit. If you have a few on comms with you, ask them to cast range CCs on the ramp up to the Lord until the ring caps. Sometimes the enemies will help you by just running in one by one at this point. Once the circle caps, you can push the enemies with all of the pugs, and usually you'll be alright. If you were successful, a good job, guys, in say chat will go a long way. If you were not successful, I suggest going into map chat saying, "It's alright, good try, next time let's try this instead." Regroup here for the next attempt on an objective. It's important for building yourself numbers to not be screaming at the pugs in map chat, as this will most likely cause them to either troll you back or just leave you alone. If you're fighting more coordinated groups, I suggest that you draw them into siege once you are more confident in order to defeat them. Okay, so now that you've taken a few paper towers and have a decent following and you aren't detagging after a wipe or hollering at the pugs and telling them it's their fault, sometimes it is the pug's fault, sometimes it's your fault. If you truly believe it was your fault, it's best to admit this to the pugs. They will usually respect you more. Some may even try to cheer you up. Such as, "My bad guys, I should have waited to push that. can actually go a long way. Many people not on Discord with you are just wondering what on earth you were doing. So just be open and honest with them. If you're sure it was the pug's fault, saying something like, guys, that was a good try, but next time can we please try to stay closer to tag or focus downs, will generally help a little bit. It's not going to work on everyone, but it will help a good chunk of them. Okay, so you've got step 1 down. You have a decent following now, and you're ready to not give up the second something goes wrong. Now we can focus on step 2, which is defense and recognizing and responding to your scouts. This is how you save your structures and keep your scouts. The number 1 rule is, don't be afraid to port maps. Your entire group is not going to come with you, but you'll gain new followers from Home BL. Just be sure you go back to EBG as soon as possible, and the pugs won't be afraid to port with you once they realize you will come back. Okay, so you're taking a paper power. Your pugs most likely will not port until this is capped, so wait if you feel you have time. Your scout has called out 15 NSP on northwest tower wall, 75%. Go port, run them over with the pugs, provided your numbers are bigger, and repair the wall, then port back. Go take another paper tower if you have time, but remember, thank the scout. Scouts often feel underappreciated. If you let them continue to feel that way, they will stop scouting for you, which means you can't save as much as you previously could. If you are unable to get there right away, let's say you were already saving Veloca for SBI, try to tell your scout something like, please stall. That way they know you are listening, but also currently occupied, in the least amount of words. If you have enough, you can even send one of the people in Discord with you to that map ahead to scout it out and report back. And also tell the people waiting for you on that map what is going on for you while you are fighting. This often inspires the scout to actually buy you more time, rather than going, well, shrug, no one is coming, guess it's lost. And more roamers from that map will go to assist the scout knowing help is trying to be on its way. Okay, so let's say you're stuck fighting in your T3 hills, but SMC, which is tier 1 or tier 2, is also under attack. I want you to be brutally honest to that scout. I'm sorry, we can't come. They are on inner hills. If you are incredibly lucky, the scout's pugs on EPG will hold them off long enough. I have had this happen, but most likely you're going to lose SMC. SMC is harder to guard regardless, as you must keep a constant vigil, whereas 1 to 2 people can ensure the safety of hills. Over time, you will learn which objectives are the easiest and most efficient to respond to. In the event you are able to respond to every call, even a paper tower, if you have time to get there and nothing major is under attack. Just to be clear, your side of EBG only. Don't run off to guard Durios if you are red. And remember, even if you can't respond, answer the scout. It doesn't have to be in/team. You can just send them whispers. Usually they will just respond with things like, it's okay, I could see you were busy defending X, was just hoping some roamers might come. Let's say you're ready for step 3 now, when you should pull out and whittle them down. How to remove yourself from a situation. Okay, let's say you're trying to get a paper tower, but they have a much bigger force than you. Siege up one of your Odorish towers. If on red, Overwatch is great for drawing blue too. Drag them back, fight in the arrow cart fire. Sometimes I will do this just to increase the confidence of the pugs. Be careful though. Overconfident pugs are just as dangerous as underconfident pugs. Important thing with pugs is, unless completely unavoidable, to keep them out of enemy siege fire. Don't fight in siege fire has to be said to them a lot. Alright, you've been commanding for a while now, and you want to tag down. Simply thank all the pugs for following you, and the scouts for scouting. Try, if at all possible, to avoid detagging directly after a wipe, even if you just run out and take a camp first, because your last impression is just as important as your first. Remember, if you have the patience to lead the pugs will come, and they will remember you if you follow these steps. A few things to keep in mind while taking things. Any objective, you should throw 1 piece of siege down at a time. Do not throw another until the first is built. As a general rule, you should count yourself as having 100 less supply than you actually do with pugs, as many of them are not going to pay attention. If you're hitting a T1 tower or above, hitting the gate, squad markers are your friends. Use them for the cannons, oils, or arrow carts that you want the pugs to take out. And don't forget, You can learn a lot by following other tags.